My neighbor demanded I give her a copy of my house key because we should always look out for each other. When I refused, she called the landlord and lied. She's locking me out of her house on purpose. The landlord looked confused as I crossed my arms and said, "Then let's see how well you explain that to the police." Hey Reddit, I need to get this off my chest. I'm a 38-year-old woman living in a quiet neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. I moved here about 2 years ago after a messy divorce, looking for a fresh start. The house is a cozy 2-bedroom with a small garden out back. I rent it from a decent landlord named Mr. Harris. About 6 months ago, a new neighbor moved into the house next door. Let's call her Brenda. Brenda is in her late 40s, always dressed in bright colors, and has a voice that could cut through steel. At first, she seemed friendly, bringing over cookies and chatting about the neighborhood. I appreciated the gesture, thinking it was nice to have a neighbor who cared. But then, things started to get weird. One afternoon, as I was tending to my garden, Brenda walked over with a big smile. "Hey there." I was thinking, since we're neighbors and all, maybe we should have each other's house keys. You know, in case of emergencies. I was taken aback. I appreciate the thought, but I don't think that's necessary. Her smile faltered. But what if something happens? We should look out for each other. I understand, but I'm not comfortable giving out my house key. She huffed and walked away without another word. A few days later, I received a call from Mr. Harris. "Hi, I got a complaint from your neighbor saying you're locking her out of your house on purpose. What's going on?" I was stunned. "What? That's not true." She asked for a copy of my key and I said no. He sighed. "I figured it was something like that. Just wanted to hear your side." I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Brenda began spreading rumors around the neighborhood. She told anyone who would listen that I was rude, unneighborly, and even hinted that I was hiding something illegal. I started noticing people giving me strange looks. Some even crossed the street to avoid me. Then, one evening, I came home to find a note on my door, "We don't want your kind here." I was terrified. I decided to confront Brenda. "Brenda, I know you've been spreading lies about me. Why are you doing this?" She smirked. "Maybe if you'd been more cooperative, we wouldn't be here." I was furious. "I'm calling the police." She laughed. "Go ahead. Let's see how well you explain this to them." I filed a report with the local police, detailing the harassment and false accusations. They took it seriously and began an investigation. Turns out, Brenda had a history of similar behavior in her previous neighborhood. She would befriend neighbors, demand access to their homes, and when refused, she'd start a campaign to drive them out. With the evidence gathered, the police warned Brenda to cease her harassment or face legal consequences. Mr. Harris also issued her a formal notice, stating that any further complaints without evidence would lead to eviction. Brenda tried to play the victim, but no one bought it anymore. The neighborhood saw her true colors. Brenda moved out a month later. Peace returned to the neighborhood. I even received apologies from neighbors who had believed her lies. If someone ever demands access to your home without a valid reason, trust your instincts. Stand your ground, and don't be afraid to involve the authorities. Your safety and peace of mind are worth it. Brenda moving out was supposed to be the end of it. For a few weeks, things were quiet. I started to feel normal again. I could walk to my car without checking over my shoulder. I stopped avoiding my front window. Neighbors even waved at me again. But then I started getting mail that wasn't mine. At first, it was junk catalogs ads. Then came 2 credit card statements under a name I didn't recognize. Same address. My address. I took them back to the post office, assuming it was a mistake. A week later, a delivery showed up. A brand new flat-screen TV. I hadn't ordered anything. The guy at the door confirmed my address and the name on the order? Brenda Walker. I stood there stunned. "She doesn't live here anymore," I told the delivery man. He looked irritated. "Well, this is the delivery address on file." I refused it, called the delivery company. Then I called the landlord. Mr. Harris sounded confused. She shouldn't be using your address. That's illegal. That night, I checked my mailbox obsessively. I pulled out 3 more letters addressed to Brenda. One from a medical clinic, one from a local animal shelter, and the one that made my heart drop, from the county court. I didn't open it, but the return address said Clackamas County Courthouse. I wasn't sure what kind of stunt she was trying to pull, but I wasn't about to be tied to it. I called the police. They came out, took a report, and said it sounded like she might be trying to keep using the address for personal gain. Mail fraud, they said. Or she's trying to dodge something. But the officer also said, until she commits something criminal with your address, we can't do much. I wasn't sleeping well after that. I kept thinking, what if she put bills in my name? What if I got dragged into court for something she did? I put a hold on all my credit, signed up for alerts, and started checking my records every day. Then one night around 3 a.m., I woke up to the sound of my trash cans being knocked over. I looked out the window and saw someone walking away fast. I couldn't make out their face, but they were holding something. I went outside the next morning and found ripped-up paper scattered all over the front yard. Mixed in were pieces of envelopes with my name, and a half-burned letter from my bank. She was going through my trash. I installed cameras the next day. 3 nights later, I caught her on video. Brenda, dressed in all black, creeping up my driveway and digging through my bin with gloves on. She didn't even try to be careful. I sent the footage straight to the police. This time, they acted fast. An officer came by to take a full report, and they told me she was under investigation. Then I got a call. It was from a detective. He wanted to meet in person. I agreed, thinking it was just a follow-up. But when we sat down, he asked, "Did Brenda ever talk to you about someone named Clay?" I told him no. Never heard the name. He nodded. "We're looking into her because she's involved in a bigger issue. This Clay person, she listed your address as his residence. She's using your place as a cover for someone else. Apparently, Clay was her boyfriend. Or maybe her ex. No one knew. What they did know was that he had a warrant, multiple actually, for fraud, stalking, and some other stuff I didn't even want to think about. Brenda had been helping him hide. That flat-screen TV? Ordered with a stolen card. The letters from the courthouse? Subpoenas and court notices. And now, thanks to her, my home was linked to all of it. They told me to be careful. If you see him, don't confront him. Call us. I upgraded my locks, added more lights around the house, and slept with my phone on loud. A few days later, I got another delivery, a plain cardboard box, no return address. It was taped up heavily and just sitting on my doorstep when I got home from work. I didn't touch it. I called the police again. They came out, opened it carefully, and inside was a small stack of photos. Not of her. Not of me. But of random people. Some old, some young, some clearly taken without them knowing. One of them was a picture of my house, taken from across the street. At night. The officer looked disturbed. "You're not the only one. We're seeing a pattern." Brenda wasn't just being crazy. She was helping someone who was way worse than her. And that person might still be around. I haven't seen her again. But someone's still out there. Watching. Waiting. Maybe using her. Maybe more dangerous than her. I'm not sleeping much. I check the cameras every hour. The lights in my backyard flicker sometimes. I've heard soft knocks at my back door. Just one, then nothing. And I still get mail. All in names I don't know. The photos in the box rattled me for days. I couldn't figure out what the endgame was. Were they trying to scare me? Did they think I'd just move out and leave everything behind? I considered it more than once. But something about all this made me dig my heels in deeper. I wasn't about to let them push me out of my own life. A week after the police took the box, I got a call from the detective again. "We need you to come in." That was all he said. No explanation, no details. I showed up the next morning, nerves shot. They walked me to a small room with a file folder on the table. Detective Carr sat across from me. We found something in Brenda's old unit next door during cleanup. You need to see it. He opened the folder and slid over several printed screenshots. They were from a private Facebook group. I didn't recognize it. It wasn't public. The title, Safe Neighbors of Portland. At first glance, it looked like a community watch page. Then I saw my name and my picture. Dozens of comments underneath, all from fake accounts, accusing me of things I hadn't done. Suspicious activity. Keeps to herself too much. Probably selling drugs. Some of the comments were from Brenda's profile, but most were from a few names I didn't recognize. Clay wasn't the only one she was hiding. She was running a smear campaign with help. It wasn't just about me refusing to give her a key. This had been brewing longer than I realized. Maybe she'd picked me out from the beginning. Maybe she wanted my house for something, maybe for Clay, maybe for her own scams. Maybe she thought if she made enough people uncomfortable around me, I'd break. Detective Carr said they traced one of the accounts back to an IP in Eugene 2 hours south. There's more, he said. That group? It's linked to other cases. At least 3 people who filed reports like yours in different towns. Same pattern. Friendly neighbor moves in. Starts acting odd. Asks for keys. Starts a smear campaign. Then comes fraud, stalking, threats. So, it wasn't just her either. She was part of something bigger. Organized. Manipulative. Predatory. And now, I was in the middle of it. They suggested witness protection, temporary relocation. I told them I wasn't leaving unless I had no other choice. I wasn't going to be another checkmark on someone's "it worked" list. Then things escalated. Someone broke into my backyard in broad daylight. Cut the screen on the side window. Didn't take anything, just opened the cabinet under my sink and left it swinging. That was it. Police dusted for prints. Nothing useful. 3 nights later, my phone rang at 1:44 a.m. unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. When I played it, I froze. It was a woman's voice, slow and shaky, whispering. "You should have given me the key." That's all she said. I had the number traced. Burner. Untraceable. I called the police again. This time, they parked a cruiser across the street for 3 nights straight. It helped. A little. But then a dog got poisoned 2 houses down. The neighbor's chocolate lab. He survived, barely. They found antifreeze in his bowl in the backyard. The family didn't even have beef with anyone. It was a warning. I don't even own a dog, but the message was clear. We know you're not scared enough yet. I started documenting everything. Photos, videos, timestamps, voices, everything. I backed up files on 2 hard drives and stored one with a friend outside the city. Then one day, Mr. Harris, my landlord, called me. "I need to meet with you," he said. I thought maybe he was going to tell me I had to leave. That this was too much. But when we met, he looked pale. "Someone called me pretending to be you," he said. "She had your info, your lease ID, even your emergency contact. She said she lost her keys and needed the locks changed." My stomach dropped. "She asked me to do it while you were at work." Mr. Harris said he got suspicious when she called him by his first name, something I never did, and when she couldn't answer the security question I'd set up months ago. What color was the front door when I moved in? They were trying to get into my house again. Using my name this time. If Mr. Harris hadn't hesitated, I might have come home to a lock I couldn't open and someone else inside. It was a psychological game now. They weren't just messing with my mind. They were testing every system I had. Looking for cracks. For trust that could be twisted. And the scariest part? They were getting smarter. No more loud footsteps. No more obvious mail fraud. Just small things. A window blind tilted when I hadn't touched it. A faint smell of perfume in my hallway when I lived alone. My bathroom rug moved slightly to the left. All of it designed to make me question myself. Or maybe to let me know they still had ways in. I started to feel like I was losing my grip. I'd double-check my doors, my windows, my mailbox. But it didn't matter. The little signs kept showing up. A light left on that I know I turned off. A glass moved half an inch on the table. My favorite coffee mug, cracked down the side, no explanation. And then the cameras went dark. All 5 of them. At once. It happened while I was at work. I got a motion alert, then silence. When I checked the feed, all cameras were offline. I rushed home. Everything looked normal. Nothing broken. But when I walked inside, I froze. There was a banana peel on the counter. I don't eat bananas. That was it. I locked the door behind me, called the cops, and told them I was done waiting. Detective Carr showed up that night with a second officer. They checked every corner. Nothing was taken, nothing damaged. But we all knew it was a message. They want to drive you out, Carr said. It's about power now. I told him I had one more card to play. 2 weeks earlier, after the first break-in attempt, I installed a hidden backup camera inside a plant in the living room. It ran on a separate power source and sent images to an off-site server I never told anyone about. I gave the footage to the detective. He called me the next morning. "It's Brenda," he said. Clear as day. Her face, her hands, her weird patterned jacket, standing in my living room with Clay, eating a banana and laughing while she moved my mug, turned on a lamp, and whispered something I still haven't been able to figure out. Clay stood behind her, face partially covered, but you could see the same tattoo the cops had on file. They didn't just sneak in. They filmed themselves doing it. I asked Carr why they'd be so bold. He said, because they thought they erased everything. They didn't know you had a backup. That was the moment everything flipped. They got warrants. They raided Clay's new place, an Airbnb under a fake name 2 towns over. Found IDs, credit cards, social security numbers, photos of other people's houses, including mine. They found wigs, tools, gloves, even an old key-cutting machine. All linked to fraud cases across the state. Brenda was arrested 2 days later, trying to fly out of PDX with a suitcase full of prepaid debit cards and $12,000 in cash. She was using her cousin's ID. And me? I was asked to testify. I stood in court, looked Brenda dead in the eye, and told the truth. She tried to look smug at first. But as I listed everything she did, the lies, the calls, the photos, the break-ins, her face changed. When they played the hidden camera footage on the screen, her head dropped. Clay pled guilty fast. Didn't even wait for trial. Brenda fought it. Said it wasn't her. Said I faked the video. But she didn't count on the landlord testifying too. Or the delivery guy. Or the dog owner down the street who saw her behind his fence the night his lab was poisoned. She got 5 years. Clay got 8. They'll probably serve less, but it doesn't matter. Because the last thing Brenda saw before they cuffed her in court was me, standing taller than I'd ever stood, holding the picture of my own front door, the one she thought she'd get a key to. The door she tried to take from me. But here's the part one haven't told anyone. There's one person I forgot to protect myself from. Me. See, I should have gone to the police the moment she asked for that key. I should have pushed harder when the first lie was told. I let politeness and fear of drama silence me. I let myself believe that saying no would be enough to stop someone determined to take control. So yeah, she messed up. But I let her get closer than I should have. I ignored red flags. And that almost cost me everything. Now my door has 3 locks. My cameras are wired, off-grid, and fireproof. I have a dog. A loud one. And I don't smile at every new neighbor. I don't wave first. They have to earn it. Because the last time I waved first, someone took it as an invitation to destroy my life. Not again.